Welcome to Born to Fight channel. This is a channel about the best fighters of all time. Today I will tell you about the legend of Soviet boxing, Vyacheslav Lemeshev, the tragic genius of Soviet boxing. In the history of Soviet boxing, few names shine as brightly and as tragically as Vyacheslav Lemeshev. A supremely talented southpaw with a devastating left hand, he seemed destined for greatness. Yet despite winning Olympic gold at just 20 years old, his career was cut short and his life ended in obscurity. The rise of a prodigy, born in 1952 in Moscow, Lemeshev started boxing at a young age. His natural talent was evident early on. He had remarkable speed, precision, and an instinct for counterpunching. Unlike many Soviet boxers who relied on relentless pressure and physicality, Lemeshev had an almost effortless grace in the ring. He moved smoothly, struck with pinpoint accuracy, and had a left hook that could end a fight in an instant. By the time he was 20, he had already made a name for himself in the Soviet boxing scene. But it was at the 1972 Munich Olympics that he truly became a legend. Olympic glory Lemeshev competed in the middleweight division, 75 kilograms, and dominated his opponents with ease. In an era of brutal, grinding fights, his approach was almost poetic. He won 4 of his 5 Olympic fights by knockout, an unheard-of feat at that level. In the final, he faced Raimo Virtanen of Finland. Despite suffering from a shoulder injury, Lemeshev showcased his signature speed and power, securing victory and winning the gold medal for the USSR. Soviet sports officials saw him as the future of boxing, a young, charismatic champion with the potential to dominate for years. But Lemeshev's story did not follow the expected path of a Soviet hero. Instead, his career and life unraveled in a way no one could have predicted. The downfall. Lemeshev's biggest weakness wasn't an opponent in the ring, it was his body. Even before the Olympics, he had suffered from chronic injuries, particularly in his shoulders. These injuries worsened over time, making it nearly impossible for him to train and fight at his best. To make matters worse, like many athletes who found sudden fame, Lemeshev struggled outside the ring. He developed a drinking problem, which further eroded his physical condition and discipline. By the mid-1970s, his performances became inconsistent. He was no longer the unstoppable force that had conquered Munich. By 1974, at just 22 years old, his career was effectively over. His injuries, combined with personal struggles, meant he could no longer compete at the highest level. In a country where sports heroes were expected to serve the state, his fall from grace was met with indifference, a forgotten champion. Unlike other Soviet boxing legends who transitioned into coaching or found roles within the sports system, Lemeshev faded into obscurity. His health deteriorated, and he spent his later years in poverty and poor health. In 1996, at the age of just 44, he passed away. A man who had once been the pride of Soviet boxing was largely forgotten by the time of his death. Legacy. Vyacheslav Lemeshev's story is one of brilliance and tragedy. He had the talent to be one of the greatest middleweights in history, but injuries and personal demons cut his career short. Unlike his Olympic contemporaries who went on to enjoy long careers or coaching success, he became a symbol of unfulfilled potential. Yet for those who saw him fight, his genius was undeniable. His left hook remains one of the most feared weapons in amateur boxing history, and while his time at the top was brief, his Olympic triumph ensured that his name would never be completely forgotten. Vyacheslav Lemeshev was proof that talent alone is not enough. Fate, health, and personal choices all play a role in shaping a champion's legacy. And sometimes even the brightest stars burn out too soon.